Welcome to Mindset U, a podcast where we explore how to hack growth. In today's episode, I needed to reset my mindset, so I'll share with you my private thoughts as to why I went away. Why would I go thousands of miles away from my family, my wife and kids, my friends, my business, and the comfort of my own home to spend a few days alone? To answer that question, I think it's important to understand that there's been a few moments in my life where I've been down. I don't feel like myself. And this creates an unevenness, an uncertainty within my life. It almost feels like I'm losing my center. I lose my essence of like what makes me me, of what allows me to think the way I think. So this was an attempt to recenter myself. Some of the challenges coming up are largely due to my business, Vida Project, a coaching and education company. See, my partner and I spent the last year and a half, I would say, working with a team to develop them, to take Vida Project to the next level. Like legit 100%, putting all of our energy to developing the coaches to become providers of a safe space, providers of guidance, providers of self-reflection. And part of me started feeling like it was all for nothing. You see, a few members of the team left. Others had to seek out other things, making their time very limited. So after a year and a half, it felt like nothing was accomplished. Nothing was moved forward because it seemed like we were back to square one. But there was a duality within that because it wasn't as simple as they came and left. It was greater than that. The mission is to develop people into versatile human beings that thrive in life. And for some of these people, that's exactly what happened. They grew and developed themselves to a whole nother level where they wanted to create and thrive and grow, which is, in essence, the mission itself. This duality of feeling accomplished, yet at the same time left in the dust, was a great challenge. And then understanding what we've built, our location right now. Do we need it? Is it too large? Without the team, is it just a liability? Am I attached to the work I've done and unwilling to let it go for what could be? All these questions circulating in my mind, taking up most of the real estate of my problem solving and drive. Legacy plays a huge role in all of this because I know legacy has always been something very important to me, but it raises questions as far as, is this just an egotistical drive for me to feel important? All these questions floating in my mind needed space to process, needed space to reflect. So that's why I went away for 3 days to contemplate, reflect, and think. For me, this looks like a lot of staring, sitting still, building a fire, writing, meditating. All these challenges required me to disconnect from the pressures that don't let me think simply and clearly. So what did I discover during this time of reflection and thinking? Well, at first, I needed to reflect on what is a legacy. Why is it so important to me? Is it egotistical? Is it about me staking my claim? And as I journaled and reflected and thought about, I have these internal dialogues where I question an assumption and try to explain it while contesting it, led me through this journal entry. I'll read it to you here. What is a legacy? For how long? What counts? The idea of a legacy is to break free from the confines of one human life, to excel beyond what is typically allowed during a lifetime. Is this a delusional, pretentious way of avoiding death? Is this just another story we tell ourselves to pretend permanence? If we are remembered, it will be for a blink of an eye, after all, when compared to the timeline of the universe. So why pursue a legacy? Is struggling about the impermanence of it all and accepting that it's a belief worth it? What if working towards a legacy allowed us to pursue total enjoyment of life? How would that work? Wouldn't that mean that you would be so focused on the future that you wouldn't be enjoying the present moments, i.e. life? Well, possibly not. Because in order to build something to be remembered by, you'll need to be doing a whole lot in the moment. Actually, now that I think of it, a legacy seems to be about becoming more than an ego. Because the ego grows to include all who are a part of you. Therefore, it actually becomes an aspect of connectedness. Actually, a legacy seems to become more than an ego trip because we grow to envelop all who are a part of us. Therefore, it actually becomes an aspect of our connectedness. So then, will a community that doesn't acknowledge a person or name count as a legacy? I think it is. Another way of thinking about it is a legacy is a transfer of consciousness into a body of work. It doesn't need to be about the I, but can be about the belief in contribution to the whole. Therefore, all that one creates is for others to use, and that can be defined as a legacy. So from that thought process, it leads me to questioning, okay, so how am I certain I'm doing this? How am I certain that I'm building said legacy? Is it a place? Is it an action? And when I reflect back to the people that I've impacted throughout my journey, that's a hell of a legacy. So the how doesn't matter. The way I came up with delivering this doesn't matter. And as soon as I can release that attachment, that's when I break free and I can think creatively and I can continue to see more ways I can reach others. So by letting go of that, it allowed me to view things that I thought unthinkable, like closing down the center. If the center is becoming too much of a liability, that's holding back the mission, then it's my responsibility to remove that obstacle, not to be attached to solving the problems that come with that. And that's why I went away to the woods by myself, away from friends and family and my business.